Welcome to 1 to 7 Games. My name is Ryan Shelton and I create card, dice, and board games. My goal is for you to watch this video and then play the game. While I would take donations through Venmo, you're more than welcome to play for free. I do not own the rights to any images. I hope you will email me with any feedback and any questions. The Legend of Kai is a game based on a famous TV show where they sit around and play a card game that seems to have random rules, but the players seem to know what cards are left to play and they're tracking something and all of a sudden somebody wins. So this is my attempt, one of many, to make a game that kind of fits within that. Heavens of Earth actually started that way too. I made a really fun deck. You can do that with the cards. But basically, this is a game of plus and minus where you're going to keep a running total and your goal is to get a multiple of 4. And I'm going to come back to that a little later. You'll notice I've spread out the cards, so I have ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, jack, queen, and king. So when you build a deck, you are going to get 13 cards, but you've got to get one of each of this. So you have to 1 ace, 1, 2, 1, 3, right? The suit doesn't matter, but the color does. So when you're picking your ace, you can either pick a positive card. So the diamonds and reds, the red cards are positive and the black cards are negative. So I'll just try to give an idea how that works. So if one player puts in a 1, the next player puts in a 4, black is negative, the running total is -4. So then maybe the next player plays an 8. So you would add 8 and the total becomes 4. So you're keeping a running total. But again, to build your deck, you're taking one of each of these cards, a 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3. You also got to get 1 jack, 1 king, and 1 king. And so I want to talk about what those cards do when you're building your deck, because it's really important to kind of understand the deck building process. The 1 jack you pick, the suit and color doesn't matter with these face cards. The jacks are what I call the negate spell. So if one player plays a 2, and then another player plays an 8, so the running total is now 10. If the next player plays the negate card, it negates the value of that less card, so the running total is back to 2. So that keeps it pretty simple. If you play a queen, you basically get to add or subtract the value of 2. So let's say somebody plays an 8, and then they play a -3, so now the total is 5. You could add 2 to make the running total 7, or you could subtract 2 to make the running total 3. So again, plus or minus 2 on that card. The king is a pretty easy one to remember because it's called the zero caster. Whatever the running total is, if you play a king, the running total goes back to 0. So again, each player has got to build their own deck. This game works with 4 players. I've never been able to get it to work with less players or more. Maybe somebody will figure that out. But each of you needs to build your own deck. You can get several decks of playing cards to make this happen. Because again, you've got to choose. Maybe you want to go really positive, get a lot of positive cards, and maybe just throw in 1 negative in there or so often, right, to kind of balance it out, but you're going to get a lot of positive. Maybe you want a lot of negative cards. Maybe you want to balance it. The key is you've got to just pick one of each of these cards to build your own deck, and then you'll be ready to play. I'm going to play a controlled game. I'm going to play for all 4 players because, again, you need 4 players. I've got the winning numbers. I'm basically looking for somebody to get a multiple of 4. I'm just going to start by playing from this player over here. So remember, they're looking at their hands. They get to decide what to play. So this player plays -4. So that's the total, -4. So basically play that deck in front of each player. That way their decks are separate and you can kind of see the last card. So they're going to play a 9. So 9 plus a -4 is a +5. And then we'll get a look at some of the spells. So this is a zero caster. So now the running total just goes back to 0. So this card starts it off with a +3. Now, since everybody's got to play 1 round, now somebody can win the game. We're looking for somebody to make a multiple of 4. So again, the count is 3. They're going to put a card in here, -2 to make the count 1. They add 2 to make it 3, because again, negative. So we had 3, -2 is 1. Then red is positive, so we add 2 back to 3. 3 plus 3 is 6, because again, red. So now the running total is 6. I'm going to play that queen. Now I could go, since the running total is 6, I can add 2 more to get to 8, or I can go down to 4. So I want to go down to 4 again. That's one of those multiples of 4. So again, this player right here has a multiple of 4. If nobody else makes a multiple of 4 before they can play a card again, this player wins. And being able to play a card again really matters when everybody's running out of cards. That way we keep fair turns. So the running count is 4. This card is winning, so we'll see how it goes. 4 minus 1 is 3. 3 plus 8 is 11. 11 minus 8 is 3. Again, that's not very good strategy for those players, so this card just plays any. Since no one else has played a multiple of 4, this player played a multiple of 4, nobody else played a multiple of 4, this player wins. They can get a point. You can play to 5 points, play a game, play to 10, or just the glory of winning that one game. And then you rotate the deal. That'll be important if you play for more points and who starts. I'm going to play another round to kind of show what happens when that multiple of 4 comes around more than once. It's really a good idea to use a die, a token of some kind, to keep track of who's winning at that current point in the game, because it'll move, and that way you'll know if that player comes around to that player again, they're going to win. I'm going to start with the same player just to keep it fresh in my brain. Reminder, again, they're holding their cards to their vest, but I'm just playing them off to the side so that I can keep track. So again, we're going to keep a running total. That's a negative, so it's a -6. They play a +6, so now it's 0. This player plays a 7, so now it's +7. Take away 3, and the count is 4. 7 minus 3 is 4. The key here is that it looks like this player should be the current leader, but that is not the case, because you have to have everybody play a card first. You have to have everybody play a card first before there's an eligible winner. So now anybody that gets a multiple 4 and plays a card again, they can win the game. So remember, the count is 4. We're going to take away 7. So we've had 4, so it's -3. The running count is -3. Oh, and so we subtract 1, so it's -4. So now this player is winning because the count is -4. That's a multiple of 4. And again, if you want to use a card. So the count is -4. This player is going to add 8. So now the count, so you add 8 is +4. So now they're the card with a chance to win. So it's at +4. Now it's at 3 because I subtracted 1, 3. 3 plus 7 is 10. 10 minus 8 is 2. So none of these players hit a multiple 4. They didn't make it a multiple 4. They didn't make it a multiple 4 again. They didn't make it a multiple 4 again. So since this player is able to play a card, whatever, it doesn't really matter too much, unless it was a negate card that could make it worse. But then this player wins because they made it a multiple 4 and played another card before another player got a multiple of 4. The hardest part of this game by far, besides keeping track of all what are winning numbers in that running total, is what happens as you run out of cards. So let's say no one is able to make a multiple of 4 and then play a card again. And that happens quite often when you play, because the game I was playing wasn't using as much strategy, trying to block cards or make it a multiple of 4. So you really want to kind of balance this. The lowest card played in the last 4 cards would be the first winner. If you have a tie with that, whoever had the most plus cards, plus the total value, or the negative cards, or the first card played or the last card played, that player wins because they're at a slight disadvantage. You can kind of use these orders for tie. This is a part of the game that I think is underdeveloped, so I need more play testing. I'm looking for other people to play test it and see how to make it so it doesn't always come to the end of the game, because I don't want it to be a tiebreaker. I really want that multiple of 4 to work in the middle of the game. So maybe more or less cards might help with that. But I really recommend keeping a track of just some winning numbers like that, and you've got how play rotates. That was 1 to 7 games Legend of Kai. It's a fun way to base games off TV shows using an easy mechanic of adding and subtracting, but throwing in that idea of multiply. Again, like I said, it needs a lot of testing, so I really hope people reach out with some feedback and tell me how their game goes.